Hi everyone, you are listening to YachtFemme on Yachting International Radio, where we discuss women in yachting. Welcome to YachtFemme, where we talk about the women that make the yachting industry. I'm your host, Andrea Tagliaferro. Learn who they are, how they got into yachting, and what they do today. Meet Sandra Jordaan, mentor, coach, and founder of the Yacht Purser and the Yacht Crew Coach. Sandra began her yachting career in 2006. For a decade, she worked as a chief stewardess and yacht purser on some of the most prominent yacht charters. She traveled to all 7 continents and is now a sought-after career coach for yacht crew. Hi everyone, welcome back to YachtFemme. I'm super excited for you guys to meet Sandra Jordaan. She is the founder of Yacht Purser. Hi Sandra, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I know it's just been an amazing experience to just chat to you, and so thanks for having me.
So before we jump in, Sandra, can you tell us a little about who you are, what is your background in yachting, and how did you get into the industry?
Oh gosh, so my story is probably a unique one. I'm from South Africa. That's not unique. There's a lot of us in the industry. And I got into yachting in 2006. I had a friend who went to go and do a season as a stew. She encouraged me to do the STCW course, which I did. And it wasn't until a few months later, actually, that she had a chief stew who needed somebody to come and work in Europe. And so I sent my CV off. I just did it. I was still based in South Africa. I hadn't actually, ever seen a yacht or worked on a yacht. So sent my CV off, we set up a Skype interview, and I ended up landing the job. So the whole reason I think I landed it as well is because the chief stew's brother went to university with me too. So there was some kind of, third person able to say, yeah, she's okay, it's fine, you can hire her, I know her, great. All right, so I think that's also the power of networking, which is something that I think is really, really important, whether you're working in yachting or on land. I went and worked on yachts I was a stewardess, and then I managed to progress to purser, which is where I eventually finished off. So yeah, that was...
So before we skip through that, for the people that are not on the crew side of yachting, or actually I'm not even in our industry, can you tell people what is a chief stew, what is a yacht purser? Pretty much what's the difference there?
So a chief stewardess or chief steward is the person in charge of the interior department. So if you think of it as being a hotel and restaurant manager, if I can make a parallel towards a land-based role. So the chief stewardess, it's hospitality, it's service, so you're responsible for making sure that everything runs smoothly in terms of the interior of the yacht. So that's housekeeping, laundry, service, all right? And then a purser is almost like, think of an office manager. So an office manager for a large company, they are overseeing a lot of the administration on board. So one of the definitions we say it's an executive administrative officer, and you look at everything from the regulations that affect the yacht, the hiring process, the certification needed for each crew member, port clearances. So whenever the vessel moves, you're looking at the documents needed for that, and also preparing them for the officials. You're looking at where are you cruising? What is there for guests? Why would they want to go there? Making the itineraries and presenting them to guests as well. And concierge services. So guests get on board the yacht, they say, I want to go to this restaurant. You're the one who's arranging that. You're the one who's arranging all the travel for that. Liaising with the jet pilots, perhaps. Also, how are they going to get to the yacht? So they fly from wherever they're coming from. You need to arrange that as a purser for them to come on board. So whether you have a helicopter, whether you need to arrange cars. So being a purser, it's also the accounting. You're managing some of the budgets. It's a very all-encompassing role.
HR, concierge,
exactly.
admin role.
It is a lot. So it's really a role that's been cropping up more recently because yachts are getting larger. So on smaller yachts, you don't find a purser role. It's really that 65 meter range where you start seeing the purser. So it's almost like you're the captain's assistant as well. So if they need any assistance with any of their paperwork, again, you're stepping in and just making sure things run smoothly.
Got it. Got it. So can you tell us more about what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So because the role that I finished up as a yacht purser, it's a very complicated role. And most people who step into it are coming from more of a service related background. So as a chief stewardess, you do see on larger yachts, chartered accountants being able to step into that position because of the accounting function that you're doing. But essentially there was one training for it. And I just felt that there was a very big gap in the practical skills that were being taught. And, there wasn't somebody teaching those actual practical skills for how to be a yacht purser. So that's where I came in and I created a course that not only provides the theoretical knowledge, but also the skills needed. So it's a very task-based course. And I think that that's really provided students with a lot of real life experience that they wouldn't necessarily have had before stepping into those roles. So that's where I come in terms of being a training provider. I'm trying to upskill everybody and allow them just to confidently manage yacht administration and logistics.
So you've been doing this for a while. How long has the Yacht Purser been up and running, the courses?
Right. So we are now on our 7th course, and so the course launched in October 2019. So we're literally on our 7th intake, and it takes about 8 weeks to complete. So I'm really able to run about 6 of those courses a year, which I think is a good amount, and I try and limit my students to 7 maximum. So I've had between 5 and 7 students for every single course. And it's, again, it's I've been doing, so my other company, actually, I'm a yacht crew coach, and that launched in beginning of 2019. So I kind of have merged the two now, where I provide, first of all, the training for pursers and anybody wanting to manage yacht administration and logistics on board. But I also provide an aspect of the career coaching for that. So, people will come to me if they want some career advice, or they want to get ahead, or they want to know what do they need to do, what do they need to focus on their CV, and just things that they might be missing. So because I worked as a purser, and because I know what captains and management companies look for in owners, I'm able to have a look at their CV and say, right, you need to focus on this. And I also ask questions. So you might have done something, and I will try and get that out of you. So I'm really good at asking those questions to find people's superpowers, if you want to put it like that. Yeah.
No, I I get what you mean. Sometimes it's asking the right questions to actually provide, because some people think, in many cases, when you're writing their CV and they're starting out, they're like, oh, I have 0 experience. Actually, you do. We just have to reword it so it can translate into the yachting and to the new role that you actually want to target. So first of all, happy work anniversary. We are in October.
I know. I actually realized that it came and went, and I was like, oh, I've been so busy. I think you were asking about what my role is as well. And for me, I do pretty much everything in my business. I do all of my own websites, I do the course, I do my own social media. And I know everyone's like, you should outsource that, or you should have a virtual assistant. I do have somebody who helps me with certain tasks in my business, and I'm really happy with that. But I think it's important, if you are an entrepreneur, that you understand all the processes in your business first before you can actually outsource that, or you can get somebody to take over that. And I think that for me has been crucial as well, because I also like interacting with people on my social media, so I know if somebody's booked an enrollment query, and I've seen that they've been following me, or they've had a few interactions, like I know whether I need to get involved in that sales call, or if I need to delegate that to somebody else. And it works really well, because at the end of the day, it's that know, like, trust factor. You're making a personal connection with somebody, and somebody wants to come and do my course over other ones because of that. So yeah, I do think it's important to know your processes in your business.
I do agree with that to some extent. I think you see a difference when you have an entrepreneur that has had to build all the aspects and all the facets of their business. So when you speak to them, you really get an answer when you're talking about things that are not even his, his main role. So it even feels better for as the person talking to them, or this the customer service side. But I am also of the mind that the moment you can outsource it, because we want you focused on what is either bringing the money or actually what are your biggest assets, your biggest strengths. And at some point that just takes up valuable time.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I 100% agree with that. I think it's also for me because perhaps, I come from a yachting mentality, and you do have to be a perfectionist to work on board a yacht. I know it's also maybe not a good thing, but finding the right people and finding the right fit is really important for me. So I think that's where the challenge comes in. It's not like you have an accounting company and everybody knows what an accountant is, and so I think it's that's really made me hold on to that.
I understand. We're going to push you out of that, but so
I know.
So can you tell us what has been now your biggest accomplishment? It doesn't have to be only of your new business, but in yachting in itself.
I think because I always wanted to be a purser, I knew I wanted to be a purser. And so obviously landing that first purser role, that was that was a very big accomplishment. And I think because it took me so long, and the reason it took me so long is because I didn't have anybody like a mentor who could guide me or show me the way to get there. Cruising to remote locations like Antarctica and, Madagascar was also challenging, and, Patagonia and all of that. So I think, that was my yachting accomplishment, traveling to all 7 continents as well.
Has the pandemic changed your work schedule, your workflow, or it was already something you were ready for?
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky. I think, I left yachting in 2018, and I always wanted to set up an online company. Part of the reason that I started yachting in the first place was the fact that I didn't want to have a regular 9-to-5 job. And so, being online, being able to do it from anywhere was really appealing. I am a mom, so I think it's also challenging because I didn't want to have a job where I was going to work every day. I was working for somebody else. That's never been appealing to me. So before the pandemic, I was already 100% online. It was great. I think probably the challenge now is the fact that everybody is going online. So yes, maybe I have the first mover advantage, but I think it's also during lockdown. I mean, I know you and I were also in a group providing support to crew, and so we were all like, try to just help the industry. But my biggest challenge with COVID-19 is the fact that I am a single mom, and I rely on my nanny and my mom to help me out, because if I can't work, if I'm looking after my son, I can't work. And I had to hire the house next door for her and her family to come and live in, so that they could just pop over and, look after my son while I could still continue to teach the course and provide the information to students and support them as well.
Well, that's definitely a big undertaking. So yeah, you brush it off like, oh yeah, well, the only thing I had to do was move someone next door, but everything else was fine. So that's really big. Like you're saying, yeah, we were first already having platforms online, but now, the competition is picking up because everybody else saw that they actually have to be online, which the yachting industry was a little bit behind in. I know you give so much advice on your platforms for yacht crew and stuff, but let's focus more on your journey. If you had something, like if you were starting yachting today, what advice would you give yourself?
Don't stop learning, find a mentor. Again, the biggest challenge that I had is that I didn't really have anybody to guide me in where I needed to be. And not only that, when you are working on yachts, you face very unique challenges that you don't face working on land. So most people will go to work, they'll do their work, and then they go home. They leave their work problems at work. And when you're working on a yacht, you're not just hiring people for their skills. So you're not just hiring somebody because they make excellent cocktails or because they can, do whatever. You're also hiring them for their personality, because at the end of the day, the team that you're putting together, they work together, they live together. And it's very important that somebody also fits in with that.
Do you have any advice on how to find a good mentor for you?
Well, this is the whole reason why I created the Yacht Purser. I did, besides just being, yes, I teach people, I also feel that I mentor people as well. And, you know, not only that, I try and match people up together. So most of the students who come through are stews, chief stews. And if they, like if I have a student who might be joining a new boat in a certain role and might feel a little bit nervous about that, I try and match my students up and say, oh, hey, you're a big yacht chief stew. This student's also joining in that role. Do you guys want to match up, and maybe you can provide some mentoring and some coaching for them just around, you know, what to expect, and some of the challenges you faced. Again, if you can find somebody to bounce ideas off and get creative solutions to challenges that you're facing off the boat, I also highly recommend that too.
Thank you so much for the time. This has been super valuable. Before we go, can you tell the audience how can they stay in touch?
Right, so I obviously have a website. I am on www.theyachtpurser.com. I also am on Instagram, so my handle is the Yacht Purser. Facebook, I've actually gotten a little bit off Facebook recently, but those are the two pretty much easiest ways to get hold of me. And also my email, sandra@theyachtpurser.com.
Perfect, thanks. So all this information is going to be in the description, as you already know, but we're going to add a bonus. Sandra was saying, if you heard right, she gives these personality tests to the people that are starting the course, and she would do that when she would get new people on board to know how she would have to communicate with them. And it's a great way to be aware of who you are and how other people are perceiving you if you haven't actually done this self-evaluation. So a fun little test. She's going to give us a link to one of her personality exams.
Yeah, exactly. And they're free. They're free online. So there's no reason for anybody not to do them.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sandra, again. I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening to YachtFemme. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and comment. Your comment will help us reach a broader audience. And don't miss the next episode. Bye!